when I was in high school, Columbine happened. And so I remember vividly the response to that, the overwhelming collective grief that emerged from that, the fear, because I was a student at that point. And then flash forward to actually being a teacher. When Sandy Hook happened, that was the next major school shooting that I think captured the national attention because of its scope and its, all of them just are atrocious, but an elementary school seems like another heightening of how atrocious it is.
There have already been at least 14 school shootings in 2018, one of them being the deadly shooting at Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. After the shooting at Douglas High School, President Donald Trump proposed that we arm highly trained teachers to prevent school shootings and that the armed teachers should receive bonuses. We decided to talk to some MVHS staff about their reactions to this.
That's the stupidest thing ever. I cannot believe that the answer to gun violence is not more guns. It's like you would never ever propose a solution for that. Like the answer for the drug problem is more drugs. The answer for just fill in a thing. The answer for the gun problem isn't more guns.
I would hate for students to be sitting in classrooms and as they're sitting at a desk wondering, is it this teacher that's got the gun or does that teacher have a gun? Which completely detracts from any sort of learning, any sense of security and safety, and to have that kind of hanging over your head I think would be completely distracting. And take away from the focus of why school exists in the first place.
Sooner or later, a teacher is going to shoot someone. And that's not because they meant to. Maybe they shoot themselves. Maybe they're trying to load their gun and blah, blah, blah. It's just it's like having a bunch of bombs in your classroom. Eventually, one of them is going to go off. So it's just a stupid thing. I mean, the way that they need to deal with it is they need to deal with the availability of guns that could come into the classroom, not putting more guns in the classroom to deal with the guns that could come into the classroom.
I think that there's something laughably absurd about saying teachers should also be armed. The element of what passed in Florida of it being a voluntary program is, I think, the only redeeming element of that proposal whatsoever.
We can give teachers bonuses for carrying guns, but not for being good teachers and making sure the students are performing well. That's dumb. Keep saying that about our current president. It's frustrating.
I would question what their rationale was behind taking a bonus to carry a weapon on campus and why they felt that they would need a weapon.
Like, if you can't drink, why should you have a gun? If you can't rent a car, why should you have a gun? Like, giving people, and if you have to have a license to drive a car, why shouldn't you also have rigorous background checks and all sorts of requirements to owning a lethal weapon?
I'm really glad I live in California, because we're taking the right sort of approach to these things, and our politicians are saying the right things about these proposals, and our legislators are saying the right things about gun control. I wish the rest of the country would approach it the way we are.
There are other countries in the world that have as many guns as we do per capita, and they don't have this kind of shooting. Canada has as many guns per person than the U.S. does, roughly, and they don't have the same problem. So there's something wrong with our society that needs to be addressed.
The types of guns that we have access to need to be curtailed, I think, to a great degree. Like, there are a lot of weapons that people can get their hands on that they just have no possible need for. And in fact, that's just like, I think, the temptation to glorify and fetishize these tools of violence in ways that are helpful for nothing,
I personally feel that of all the places for kids to be that should be the safest, home and school should be the two safest places for kids to be able to be and exist and be with their friends and to study and to grow up. And to have that whole sense rattled is just devastating to me.